Welcome to another Morgantown Read Aloud, and you're probably wondering where I am, but the story I'm reading today is about a garden. So I decided to do something in the newest garden of Morgantown, the Children's Adventure Garden at the West Virginia Botanic Garden in Morgantown off the Tyrone Road. And since my story is about a garden and a little girl in the story is transforming a garden in her story, I thought the transformation that has occurred out here at the Botanic Garden would be a good one to share with you too. Apparently, when they were building the education building, they had lots of leftover soil and stones, and they decided that they would put it down here out of the way. But as they did that, when children came with their parents to the garden, they were playing on that pile of stones and dirt, and that gave them the idea for the garden behind me. And at the end of the story, I will share a little walking tour of this garden so you can come and have fun in it too. But today's story takes place during the Great Depression, almost 100 years ago. In this country, there was a Great Depression where lots of people lost their jobs. And the jobs were lost for various reasons, but very similar to what happened during the beginning of our pandemic when people lost their jobs. I don't know if this story, The Gardener, is a true story or not, but it could be, because my grandfather actually told me about how he was a carpenter but lost his job during the Great Depression, and they had to give up their house and put it for rent so that he could afford to live, and he moved back to the farm with his parents during that time. And in this story, the young girl does just the opposite. She leaves her family farm and moves to the city to help her uncle at a bakery. So this is the story written by Sarah Stewart with pictures by David Small called The Gardener. And the symbol on the front is an award that he won for his pictures in the story. And I'm going to take the cover actually off the book so that you can see the end papers. And on the first end paper, this is Lydia Grace with her grandmother who taught her about gardening. The Gardener by Sarah Stewart, pictures by David Small. And she wrote this story in the form of letters between her and her family. And the first letter takes place on August 27, 1935. She says, "Dear Uncle Jim, Grandma told us after supper that you want me to come to the city and live with you until things get better. Did she tell you that Papa has been out of work for a long time? And no one asked Mama to make dresses anymore. We all cried, even Papa. But then Mama did make us laugh when she told her stories about how you chased her up trees when they were both little. Did you really do that? I'm small, but I'm strong, and I can help all I can. However, Grandma says I do need to finish my schoolwork before doing anything else. Your niece, Lydia Grace Finch." September 3rd, 1935. Dear Uncle Jim, I'm mailing this from the train station because I forgot to tell you in the last letter 3 important things that I'm too shy to say to your face. 1, I know a lot about gardening, but nothing about baking. 2, I'm anxious to learn to bake, but is there any place to plant seeds? And number 3, I like to be called Lydia Grace, just like Grandma. Your niece, Lydia Grace Finch. So that's September 3rd. This is September 4th. So she's been all night on the train. And she writes 3 separate letters. Dear Mama, I feel so pretty in your dress that you made over for me. I hope you don't miss it too much. Dear Papa, I haven't forgotten what you said about recognizing Uncle Jim. Just look for Mama's face with a big nose and a mustache, but I promise I won't tell him. Does he have a sense of humor? And dearest Grandma, thank you for the seeds. The train is rocking me to sleep, and every time I doze off, I dream of gardens. Love to all, Lydia Grace. And look, how would you feel if you arrived in that huge train station all by yourself? I can't imagine. September 5th, 1935. Dear Mama, Papa, and Grandma, I'm so excited. There are window boxes here. Look, here and here and here. They look as if they've been waiting for me. So now we'll both wait for spring. And Grandma, the sun shines down on the corner where I will live and work. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. Uncle Jim doesn't smile. No, she doesn't write again until December 25th, 1935. Dear Mama, Papa, and Grandma, I adore the seed catalogs you sent for Christmas. And Grandma, thank you for all the bulbs. I hope you received my drawings. I wrote a long poem for Uncle Jim. He didn't smile, but I do think he liked it. He read it out loud and then put it in his shirt pocket and patted it. Love to all, Lydia Grace. This is on February 12th, 1936. Dearest Grandma, thanks again for those bulbs you sent at Christmas. You should see them now. I really like Ed and Emma Beach, Uncle Jim's friends who work here. When I first arrived, Emma told me she'd show me how to knead bread if I would teach her the Latin names of all the flowers I know. Now, just a half a year later, I'm kneading bread and she's speaking Latin. More good news. We have a store cat named Otis who is at this very moment sleeping at the foot of my bed. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. Uncle Jim isn't smiling yet, but I'm hoping for a smile soon. March 5th, 1936. Dear Mama, Papa, and Grandma, I've discovered a secret place. You can't imagine how wonderful it is. No one else knows about it but Otis. I have great plans. Thank you for all the letters. I'll try to write more, but I'm really busy planting all your seeds in cracked teacups and bent cake pans. And oh, Grandma, you should smell the good dirt I'm bringing home from the vacant lot across the street. Love to all, Lydia Grace. Do you want to see her secret place? There it is. It's on the top of their apartment building, and the bakery is at the bottom. August 27th, 1936. Dearest Grandma, all the seeds and roots are sprouting. I can hear you saying, April showers, bring May flowers. Emma and I are sprucing up the bakery, and I'm playing a great trick on Uncle Jim. He sees me reading my mail, planting seeds in the window boxes, going to school, doing my homework, and sweeping the floor, but he never sees me working in my secret place. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. I'm planning on a big smile from Uncle Jim in the near future. May 27th, 1936. Dear Mama, Papa, and Grandma, you should have heard Emma laugh today when I opened your letter and dirt fell out on the sidewalk. Thank you for all the baby plants. They survived the trip in the big envelope just fine. More about Emma. She's helping me with my secret place. Hooray! We'll get it done. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. I saw Uncle Jim almost smile today because the store was full, well, almost full of customers. I think they like all the flowers that I've planted. Dear Grandma, flowers are blooming all over the place. I'm also growing radishes and onions and 3 kinds of lettuce in the window boxes. Some neighbors have brought containers for me to fill with flowers, and even a few customers gave me plants from their gardens this spring. They don't call me Lydia Grace anymore. They just call me the gardener. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. I'm sure Uncle Jim will smile soon. I'm almost ready to show him the secret place. July 4th, 1936. Dearest Mama, Papa, and Grandma, I am bursting with happiness. The entire city seems so beautiful, especially this morning. The secret place is ready for Uncle Jim, and at noon the store will close for the holiday, and then we'll bring him up to the roof. I've tried to remember everything you taught me about beauty. Love to all, Lydia Grace. P.S. I can already imagine Uncle Jim's smile. Look how she made a whole row of flowers and signs to lead him right up to the rooftop. And there it is. And do you see them with the sparklers and watermelon? He's not quite smiling, but I think he looks pleased. July 11th. Dear Mama, Papa, and Grandma, my heart is pounding so hard I'm sure the customers can hear it downstairs. At lunch today, Uncle Jim put the closed sign on the door and told Ed and Emma and me to go upstairs and wait. And he appeared with the most amazing cake I have ever seen. And you know what? It was covered in flowers. I truly believe that cake equals 1,000 smiles. And then he took your letter out of his pocket with the news of Papa's job. I'm coming home. Love to all, and see you soon, Lydia Grace. P.S. Grandma, I've given all of my plants to Emma, and I can't wait to help you in your garden again. We gardeners never retired. And here they are. Sending her off. I think that she's sort of transformed and changed their lives, but leaving lots of her flowers behind. But guess who else she's taking? There's Otis. And then here she is, back on the farm with Grandma, ready to plant and help in her garden again. I hope you enjoyed that story. And I would like to share with you what you can come and see out at the Botanic Garden in the Children's Adventure Garden. I'm sitting in the entrance right here, but then you can walk this way and go through a doorway built just for you. I'm afraid it's too small for me. And go inside. And in you can have secret messages shared with someone from here to the other side too. Down here, as you walk around the big circle, you have another way to get into the garden. But you can also walk over top too. And they need steps of rocks here. And steps going into the middle in shady parts. And I love their spider web over here. You can pretend you're a spider catching all sorts of insects. And then they made small steps. And then big giant steps over here. So you can go up to the top and be king of the mountain like my grandson was yesterday. And then over here, before we finish going around, there was actually a little wetland here because this whole area used to be the water from Morgantown. It was their water reservoir. So when that lake sort of was not used anymore, there's still areas that are wet, and they made a little dock here for you to watch all the hundreds of tadpoles. And there's even a couple salamanders back there too. These look like something coming up, maybe sunflowers. But here's their pea tower. Pretty soon, the sides of this teepee are going to be covered with peas and maybe some tomatoes. And over here in another garden, they might be growing some carrots and celery. But up here, you can even play a game with some slices of wood pieces that they had left over. And then I noticed down here, a whole group of people made some rocks with all different words on it that you can make up sentences. Maybe you'll even do your own rock and add to it. So come out and enjoy this garden, and then walk down and go to their maze, and then you can walk on around the loop and even go to a fairy garden. Just come and have fun.